Hello, this is a tutorial for demonstrating the long tail cast on, which is, as the name suggests, a cast on that uses a long tail. Unlike most cast ons where you just leave 5 or 6 inches of a tail enough for weaving in later, this is a cast on that uses yarn from both the tail itself and the working yarn leading to the ball in order to create the stitches. So we need to leave enough of a tail to cover all of the stitches we're going to use. That, of course, is going to be dependent on what your pattern has required. So I'm just going to do a few stitches here in this demonstration, so I don't need to leave a massively long tail. First thing to do is to tie a slip knot where you want to start working from. You don't need to tie a slip knot, you can do this with just a loop of yarn, but it's a good idea if you're a beginner to have a nice, confident, sturdy slip knot, and then nothing's going to go a little bit skew-whiff. So what I do here, holding the yarn is very important in this, and you have to hold in a slingshot fashion. So the way I do it is by keeping my finger on top of that slip knot there. With my left hand, I grab both of the tails of the yarn with the lower 3 fingers of my left hand there, and I insert my finger and thumb in between them and spread them out. It's important to note here that the yarn that's going over my thumb is the tail, and the yarn that's going over my finger is the yarn that leads to the ball. So once again, I grab both strands with my lower 3 fingers, insert thumb and finger through between those, holding everything nice and tight there, and then I can pull back down with my needle, holding onto that slip knot there, and you can see I've got this kind of catapult sort of effect here with these 4 different strands leading from my fingers and thumbs to the slip knot itself. And that is the slingshot method of holding the yarn. Here are the steps to create the cast on itself. Step 1, bring the tip of the needle towards you and over to the left. Pick going around the outside of this outer thumb strand and coming up between the 2 thumb strands. One more time, all the way around to the far left hand side, underneath the outer thumb strand, and picking it up, going up between the 2 thumb strands. Then we take the tip of the needle over to the right and pick up the strand that's on the inside of that finger there, going round the top of it there. And then we just bring the needle tip out the way it came in by going back down between the 2 thumb strands, coming towards you, let go with the thumb, and then put the thumb back in to retension. And you see I've now got a second stitch on that needle. Let me show you that one more time. So here I go, coming towards the far left over the top of all the strands and going underneath the outer thumb strand and picking it up from underneath that way. Then I go over the top of the inner finger strand there, picking that up, and then I come out the way I came in, by going down between the 2 thumb strands towards me, and then I can let go with the thumb, retention by bringing the thumb from the inside, and then pull that nice and snug. It doesn't need to be too tight, you do want to have a lot of give in this cast on. Let's show that one more time. Round the outside of the outer thumb and up between the 2 thumb strands, over the top of the inner finger strand, picking it up that way, and then out the way you came in, down between the 2 thumb strands, release the thumb and retention. You can get quite a nice flow with this, just working backwards and forwards, releasing the thumb and retensioning every time as you go, picking it up, getting the finger strand back the way you came, and there you have it. And this is what you've just created. It's this really nice, sturdy, quite attractive looking cast on. It looks like a little diagonal dashes on the one side, and if you turn it over, it looks a little bit like pearl bumps going on there. So it really does seem to, it does tend to have a right side and a wrong side. So the cast on takes the place of the first right side row, and if you're working back on the other side, you would be wanting to start with a wrong side row on your knitting. And there you have it, the long tail cast on.